The Devil in Hell's Kitchen is back, and Fisk is after him with the Anti Vigilante Task Force. What happens? Well, today we're going to talk about it. Let's get it. Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Collard Greens and Nerdy Things. I'm your host, King, and this is the greatest co host in all of New York, JC3. And today we're doing something special. I want to stop and take a minute and tell you guys this series is the first series that we fully covered on this podcast, bringing us back a whole full circle and a whole year. So for this, let's call it the anniversary, baby. We are now right back full circle with Daredevil. And another piece of housekeeping I want to say is thank you to everybody who's been along with us on this ride so far. We appreciate everybody who calls us and talks to us and tell us they watched the episodes, the people who like, comment, and subscribe and share to their friends. If this is stuff you like to talk about, then please do the same. Join us on this journey. We're trying to get to 100 followers, and we're going to keep talking about nerd stuff all day and all night. And if you like that, we put out an episode pretty much every Tuesday, and we try to put out a second episode on Thursday. So if you like that kind of content, come back, hang out with us, and let's talk some nerd talk. But let's start off with what we're here with today. And today is Daredevil Born Again Season 2. And man, it starts off with a banger. Let's first just get our general thoughts out of the way, and then we'll kind of dig into things. Jay, hit us with your first thoughts.
Man, like you said, we come right back around full circle, King. Thank you everybody for being with us for this journey. But yeah, man, we're back with Matt Murdock and Daredevil, And just the opening of this episode, I really, really love just because it gave me like Captain America Winter Soldier vibes when he's on the freight and he's just like silently taking people out. I think that's a testament to how awesome that movie is. But hey, Daredevil's looking good, man. We got him in that black suit. We got the double D's on the chest. Like we got great action scenes, and we see that this guy, why we love Daredevil, he just can take a beating, but he can just keep going afterwards, man. So I really enjoyed seeing him back. Happy to see him and Karen are finally together after all this time, seeing them on screen. The chemistry just feels right there. We got our boy Fist back, crazy as ever. New character with Matthew Lillard, aka Shaggy. He's coming in as a CIA agent named Mr. Charles. Still trying to figure out what his character is going to mean overall for this show, but man, we got all the players here. Even Heather, who is Matt's ex, quick ex for that matter. But we got her on her own journey and her trauma as well. We're at a good start, man. We're setting the pieces. We're putting the pieces on the board, and hey, man, I just can't wait to see what they cook up this time.
I love the start of this episode. When it comes to Daredevil, you always get those awesome hallway fight scenes that are amazing. The show does a good job of putting you right back into the action. It doesn't do a lot of talking or narratively explaining where we're at or where we've been. We just get right back into it with Matt. And like you said, Fisk is now in full control of this city. We've got the anti vigilante task force running amok, really causing havoc. A big police state. They've really turned New York into a police state. And you could kind of feel the crunch. We've got some of the people back, Karen and Matt having this relationship, and we finally get to see them be together, which we knew was inevitable, is great. The chemistry is great, but now we have Karen in the fight on the ground, willing to fight. She's not in the outside. She's in there with Matt, really getting down as Daredevil. And he ain't playing, but neither is Fisk. Fisk is really up the ante of what he was trying to do with this task force. And one of the things you mentioned was that boat that came into the harbor that was full of weapons and high-tech weapons, ammo, guns, technology that Fisk is trying to bring into the city. And Matt sank that bad boy. And the way he sank it was dope. I love that opening scene and the fight choreography that they always give us. and to have the crew back in the saddle. We get to see Cherry. I'll bet it, albeit for only a little while. R.I.P. Cherry. But man, it's great to be back in the saddle with the Devil at Hell's Kitchen. The North Star, the opening mission, and that idea of that ship and what they were doing, how did that kind of catch you off guard, or what do you think of that narrative of what Fisk is trying to do?
Uh, it kind of makes me feel like he's probably like we know that he's against the vigilantes. He has his own task force against them. So whatever is on that freight, he's willing to do some pretty dastardly things to keep it under wraps. Hence why we've involved the CIA agent, Mr. Charles now. um Whenever he's moving, he's willing to kill for it. They had a scene in the show where Mr. Charles was suggesting, hey, why don't we just hire a few people just to move this stuff for you that we can kill him off right away. Whatever it is, I don't think it's gonna help Daredevil in their mission, but I wonder if it could be anything that is super powered in a way. It's very intriguing.
It seems like it's setting the stage that Fisk has now not only his mayoral power and his responsibilities within New York, but it seems now his reach is going into the federal government. And New York is kind of spiraling down into this Gotham esque city where everyone involved is pretty much corrupt, which kind of leads me to the task force. These guys have now, there's no rules. They don't need to knock, they don't need warrants. They're just going to disappear you. And what you're starting to see is it looks like they're seemingly terrorizing the entire city and kind of policing the city versus just looking for vigilantes. And we get to see the kind of opposite of that with the BB News report. She's back, BB is back, and she's doing this kind of on her reporting that we know Fisk is going to see. She's doing this give all the good and shiny parts, people who are pro Fisk and talking about how this is cleaned up New York and they don't understand why everybody's upset. And the public is now starting to believe the propaganda and blaming Daredevil for these actions, even though he's the one trying to help. But behind the scenes, BB, she's actually making this other puppet storyline with this masked fist look-alike puppet head, which is hilarious. At first, I thought I was wondering if it was Matt, but now we know that, as she mentioned in the first season, not all of her news articles are written under her name. She usually uses things, pseudonyms, and other things to disguise herself, which we finally get to really see that on display. What did you think of the state of New York in this?
Like you said, it just feels like the New York, like some New Yorkers have blinders on, man. Just seeing how bright and shiny things are portrayed to be, but then you see the underground of how things actually are. It's like complete and total opposite. Like we can have the BB report tell us how great everything is and how Fizz is just cleaning up the streets, but then we see what's actually going on in the show with them finding the I believe it was the captain of the freight boat that went down. And he said, hey, I was following orders. I was doing what I was supposed to do. And he's getting, beat down by Fist men and ultimately ended by Fist men as well, and just seeing that deep, like the crime really hasn't stopped, like Fisk is just in complete and total power. And seeing what he's willing to do to keep it is just, in some ways, it could be a little.
And here's a thing that I didn't expect us to get on the first episode. They already caught up to Daredevil. They figured out where he was at and where he's going to be. And the task force was beating his butt up. They was beating his ass. And they managed to unmask him. And some of those people ended up seeing exactly who he is. And at the same time, Cherry's having a heart attack. And Matt is conflicted on whether he should save his friend or save himself. And in that, getting knocked out, where the men were about to take him captive. But then An unlikely ally comes in and saves the day. I was so curious in this moment, how is this gonna be interrupted and how is this gonna change the pace? Because there's no way in the first episode Daredevil is getting caught and unmasked. But then all of a sudden, knives fly in, people die, and a note is left on one of the knives, and it says something to the effect of, "You owe me one," and it's Bullseye who saves his life.
Oh my goodness. When Bullseye did that, he might as well have just called and said, you're welcome. you know,
For real.
but that was very interesting to see him being the one to save Matt. What makes it so intriguing is the fact that this is the same man that killed his best friend Foggy. So now we're wondering, why did he save Matt? Is he fully on his side now because he's against Fisk and he's trying to end Fisk now? Are we going to get some kind of alliance in future episodes? Who knows why Bullseye does what he does? He's kind of all over the place, but he is, if anything, very accurate, as we saw by that ending shot. Which, by the way, the whole fight scene was again beautiful, amazing. Love that Daredevil's back, kicking ass and taking names.
I was just so shocked, man, and I wonder part of me wonders what he's going to say to Matt knowing that Matt jumped in the way to save Fisk when he was trying to kill Fisk in the last episode of the last season. So there's a lot of interesting conversation that can come out of Daredevil actually talking to and teaming up with Bullseye, which from the promo art, we know that there's going to be a moment where they will be side by side in action, whether that's willing or unwillingly. They'll be on the same side at some point, and it's going to be interesting. I have one more thought before I go into our final thoughts here, and I wonder if you shared the same thought. I wonder if this show, Daredevil Born Again season 2, is before or after the events of the Spider-Man Brand New Day that's coming out. And the only reason why I speculate that is right now New York is under this police state quarantine. They're pretty much locked down and things seem a little more gray than they have ever. When we saw the trailer for Spider-Man, things are kind of different. It seems a little more happier, a little more hopeful. So, will these things that happen in Daredevil carry on into Spider Man, or is the timeline a little different? We know this is 6 months after the events of the first season. So, where will Spider Man and that movie, since it's going to happen in New York, take place in relation to Daredevil? That was a big question going through my head. But let me throw out my last final thoughts, and then Jay, give us your final thoughts, remarks, and then take us home. I think this was a good starting to an episode. I like that they didn't have to take time to explain too much. We jumped straight into the action and we got into it. And who doesn't love a good Daredevil episode with two big fight scenes with actual consequential things happening? So on a scale to 1 to 10, I would say for me, this was about an 8. I'm really enjoying it. At the time that we recorded this, I have seen the next episode and we'll watch the third episode tonight. So hopefully we'll get that episode out to you this week, covering 2 and 3, or maybe one of each. But so far, I'm really loving this and I hope the party continues. And we really appreciate you being here with us.
Man, well, like you, King, I am glad that we are back with the second season of Daredevil Born Again. I'll say I'll give this episode 7.5. I think we're laying the groundwork right now, setting the table for things to come. Again, it's great to see Daredevil back. Great to see the black suit. Got to say it again. Great to see the double D's. And just overall tone of the show is great, amazing. And now with Bullseye back and trying to see where he fits in the new mission we got going here. Can't wait to see what we have coming tonight. We also know at some point Jessica Jones is going to make an appearance in the show. Also heard a rumor that Luke Cage may, make a little cameo. So who knows what we're going to get in this season, but can't wait to see what we end up getting. But thank you guys for being with us. And I will say, let me ask you guys a question real quick. How long do you think that Heather will have these like visions, like this trauma of Muse? And will that maybe turn her a bit psychotic into a villain or villainess that we may not know from the comics, or that we do know from the comics, that we do know from the comics. Let me know what you think in the comments. In the meantime, again, like, share, comment, and as always, stay nerdy, my friends.